Support for Up to Date is provided by Geisinger, providing world-class care for our community, here where it matters.
Welcome to the Up to Date podcast from WVIA News on this Thursday morning. I'm Lydia McFarlane in for your host, Sarah Scinto. I'm here to bring you some of our newsroom's most interesting and informative stories. Today we'll talk about Luzerne County's anti-discrimination ordinance and the fight to repeal it, the biggest donor to Kentucky's Democratic governor's re-election campaign, and Stroudsburg advocates calling on the state legislature to help Pennsylvanians with rising costs. It's Thursday, August 13th. Let's get you up to date. The top donor to the super PAC of Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is from Pennsylvania, but has almost no online footprint. Ashish Patel has contributed $850,000 to Beshear's In This Together PAC over the past year, in addition to $500,000 to support the election of Democratic governors in 9 different states, but not Governor Josh Shapiro. Patel is listed in federal filings as a self-employed business owner or investor from Carlisle. Patel declined in person to answer questions after not responding to emails, phone calls, and a letter. Beshear's top political consultant did not provide any additional information about Patel. Kentucky Public Radio found that Patel is currently licensed as an oral surgeon in Virginia. A social media account linked to Patel touted Beshear as the best potential candidate for president in 2028. And speaking of governor's elections, let's talk now about Pennsylvania's. With Election Day now less than 3 months away, both candidates for Pennsylvania governor are ramping up their campaigns with strong messaging. Haley O'Brien reports for WVIA.
Pennsylvania's Democratic Party kicked off a statewide press tour titled 100% MAGA, arguing that Republican gubernatorial candidate and state treasurer Stacey Garrity would align closely with President Donald Trump's agenda if elected governor. Democratic Party Chairman Eugene D. Pasquale said Garrity would not have challenged the Trump administration in court over its policies.
His war of choice sent the cost of gas through the roof. And you guessed it, Pennsylvanians are paying that price, and we again see that every single day. And what does Stacey Garrity have to say about this? She is all in. She would not have sued the Trump administration once.
Governor Josh Shapiro, a Democrat, has sued the Trump administration more than 24 times. Meanwhile, Garrity's latest campaign ad is a mini-series that highlights past investigations and crimes and suggests that Shapiro is corrupt. Dozens of episodes are expected to be released through the November election. In Harrisburg, I'm Haley O'Brien.
Thanks to Haley O'Brien for that report. There's more to come from Up to Date just after this short break. Stay with us.
Boris Kravchuk with WVIA News. Thanks for listening to WVIA Radio. Read more about some of the stories you hear at our website, wvia.org/news. We appreciate your support because we report to you.
Welcome back. This is Up to Date from WVIA News, and I'm Lydia McFarlane, filling in for Sarah Scinto. Let's get back to the news. Environmental advocates, including 2 Democratic state representatives, say Pennsylvania can fill in the gaps where they believe the federal government has failed to protect the environment and residents from rising energy costs. Conservation Voters of Pennsylvania and Action Together NEPA held a press conference on the issue in Stroudsburg. WVIA's Cap Bolus reports.
In the face of federal cuts, the group wants the state Senate to take action to help Pennsylvanians deal with skyrocketing energy and gas prices.
Our neighbors are struggling to make ends meet. Working people need relief and they can't wait for it any longer.
That's Kristen Volchansky. She's advocacy director at Action Together NEPA. The group also advocated for the protection of natural resources. State Representative Maureen Madden, whose district covers parts of the Poconos, says clean energy is not just about reducing pollution. She says it's also about lowering energy costs, strengthening the local economy, protecting resources, and creating jobs.
Protecting the Pocono means looking at how we produce and use energy.
Towards the end of the press conference, Hannah Ferber, she's the federal campaign coordinator at Conservation Voters of Pennsylvania, pointed out several state House bills and one Senate bill aimed to help Pennsylvanians.
The House has done its job, and these bills will lower costs, but now it's time for the Senate to take action.
The bills regulate the data center industry's energy consumption and create clean energy programs, among other initiatives. In Stroudsburg, I'm Kat Bolas, WVIA News.
Petitioners who want to repeal Luzerne County Council's anti-discrimination ordinance presented over 15,000 signatures to the council clerk this week. WVIA's Roger Dupuis and Sarah Scinto have been talking to people on both sides of the issue.
Luzerne County's Democratic majority in June voted 7-4 in favor of a countywide non-discrimination ordinance extending discrimination protections to classes not included under statewide and federal law. It includes protections from discrimination based on gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, veteran status, and physical or mental disability, as well as domestic violence protections and national origin or citizenship status. Even before it was passed, the ordinance became a lightning rod for supporters and opponents. Luzerne County Council member Joanna Bryn Smith, part of the Democratic majority that approved the measure, spoke to my colleague, Sarah Scinto.
It started because we had been seeing a couple of counties putting forth anti-discrimination ordinances. We had also been seeing local cities putting forth anti-discrimination ordinances, and realizing that there were some marginalized groups that weren't protected in the way that we felt they could be by the federal and state protections.
Walter Griffith, a Republican and former county controller, spearheaded the effort behind the petition drive. He and others question why the ordinance is needed and what impact it will have in the county.
It has everything to do with the fact that they're pushing an ordinance that adds protected classes to an already existing law that the people of this county don't feel is necessary.
Griffith also has expressed concerns with the ordinance's inclusion of gender identity as a protected class. He has stated that many people signing his petition are, quote, not happy about the trans issue, referring to protections for transgender individuals. Bryn Smith said she has heard allegations that the ordinance will force schools to let boys use girls' bathrooms. She says that is not true.
That's not at all in the ordinance.
I asked Griffith if bigotry factored into opposition to the ordinance.
There are a lot of people who are saying the opponents to this are anti-gay, they're anti-trans, they're bigoted. What do you say to that?
I say that that's not even close to the truth. The people who circulated those petitions and the people that signed them petitions, they're anti-ordinance that is government overreach. And when the county gets hit with a lawsuit of a couple thousand, hundred thousands of dollars to fight a constitutional battle, that goes on the taxpayers' back. And that's what the people are upset with, is we have more important things in this county to worry about.
Liz Bradbury is chair of the Lehigh County Human Relations Commission. Lehigh County adopted a non-discrimination ordinance in 2024, and since then, Bradbury has helped several counties, including Luzerne, create their own. She spoke with Sarah.
It's because it's a volunteer commission. It saves the courts, which taxpayers do have to pay for. It saves the courts having to do all of that determination as to whether this was really a discrimination case or whether just somebody who was disgruntled and wasn't really discriminated against based on protected class. They have no evidence that they are discriminated against protected class, so the case is dismissed before it gets to the courts, and that ends it. Get it?
Griffith and his petitioners had 45 days to present 11,615 signatures as required under the county's Home Rule Charter. If the clerk determines they presented enough valid signatures, their petition gives County Council 30 days to consider repealing the ordinance on their own, Griffith said, or it will be put to a referendum during the 2027 primary. Roger Dupuis, WVIA News.
You can find all of these stories and more on our website, WVIA.org. This has been Up to Date with me, WVIA's Lydia McFarlane. Remember to subscribe and listen every weekday. You can find Up to Date on WVIA.org and wherever you get your podcasts. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.